What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode. Hey, we're gonna be looking at what was gaming like in 2004. 2004, man. At the time, 2004, I was born in 1990. So what the fuck is going on? This nigga going crazy back there. But anyways, what I was saying. Yeah, back then I was born in 1990 of October 27th, so it was a cool time. I miss them times, man. The 90s and the early 2000s, I miss them times. Those was some good times. I had a great childhood growing up, and my first system was a used Sega Genesis that you got to put like a little tissue in the AC port so it could stay in because it was loose. So if you mess with that, then the game is over. And back then you ain't had memory cards, or sometimes some games don't come with passwords. So once you start over, that's it. But anyways, but 2004, I was 14. I was 13 or 14. I was 13 and 14 at the time. Like, I spent almost a whole year before October hit. Then I turned 14. So let me take this gum out. Shit, around that time I was a teenager, man. That's when what was the PlayStation 2? The PlayStation 2 came out. We had Game Boy. The Advance? It was Advance back then. It was Game Boy Advance. I think. Did we have the DS during that time too? I don't remember. Like my memory shot. Sometimes I can remember some stuff, and sometimes I can't. Hold on for a minute. But yeah, I'm glad I had like the type of parent that I had. That she just buy me all the video games. She just wanted to give me all the video games, even though I was outside. Like I was outside and inside. I playing the video games, watching cartoons or Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, looking at some Disney channels, or looking at Fox and all that shit. Or I'm outside playing football, basketball, or I'm just hanging around outside. It's either you inside playing games or doing stuff in the house, or you're outside doing stuff come on, man. But you riding bikes and all that stuff. The kids don't even do that stuff no more. That's why I miss back in the day when everything felt so alive. And like these days, everything feels dead. It's like, to me, ever since like 2017, everything just started feeling off. It feel like everything just died. It feel like instead of just living, we just surviving now. But I'm not trying to bring on the negative side of it. But if you feeling the same way too, comment down below how you feel. But at the same time, let me know what type of games that you was playing in 2014. Like, did you have a PlayStation? Like, did you have everything? You was the type of person, you just a one console type of person, you just want to get everything. I wanted to get everything. So just let me know in the comments what type of game systems that y'all had, what type of games y'all had, and how did it make you feel and stuff like that. But we're gonna get into the video. Let me like it first. Dang, I just had a taste for Lay's potato chips, the plain ones. I need a big bag. After this video, I'm about to go to the store.
2004 was 20 years ago. Most of us were...
Then you put it in that perspective, 20 years, damn, it is 2024. Damn, I was a teenager 20 years ago. Time flew. That is scary. Bruh, that's crazy. I was a teenager 20 years ago. I'm a grown ass fucking man.
We're probably kids at that time, so it might be hard to remember exactly.
I still can't believe I still can't believe I'm 30. I didn't think I'd make it this far. I ain't gonna swell. When you a kid, you don't think beyond 30. You just think like a teen, and then you're gonna be an adult, and that's it. You don't think 30 and beyond. You think 20s and that's about it. You think 30s is over. Basically, damn near is, but that's only in the mind. It's basically the beginning, bro. The beginning to the end.
Exactly what gaming was like back then. So let's take a trip down memory lane and look at what was honestly a really crazy year for gaming. Before we get into
because I can't even remember everything.
Hot game releases in 2004, let's start with the console stuff. This was the year that Nintendo launched the Game Boy Advance Video.
I remember that.
A line of Game Boy Advance cartridges.
My cousins, my female cousins down in South Carolina had that joint. I think it was, I mean, like, I don't know. I we had iPods. Wait a minute, it was no, we didn't. That was high school. My bad. Forget what I said. But at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna get that. I'm gonna just get the DVD and just hook it up to the DVD.
With episodes of TV shows and even full movies. These movies look terrible, obviously.
Terrible,
because they're
yeah.
super compressed. But honestly, at the time, it was pretty cool to have episodes of some of your favorite shows on the go right there on your GBA. And there were quite a number of shows that had Game Boy.
Oh no, I'll
Advance
take that
cartridges,
back.
like Pokemon, SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, Ed, Edd and Eddy, and even the.
It's cool. It was cool for kids. I ain't had that because I'm like, I don't want it. I could just look at it on TV, or I could just get the bootleg of it because it had LimeWire. You could download music and whole set of DVDs. I swear to God, I'm like, and then I could just name it and then boom, that's it. I ain't need to put it on the whole. I want to play games. I don't want to look at TV shows on the. As a matter of fact, I never even had an SP. I still had a Game Boy Advance. I didn't want the SP.
The Proud Family. In terms of movies, the only feature-length films that were released on Game Boy Advance Video were Shrek, Shrek 2, and Shark Tale. Yeah, remember that one? Speaking of the Game Boy Advance, this year also saw the release of the GBA wireless adapter, which allowed multiple GBAs to connect to each other for multiplayer wirelessly, whereas before you needed a GBA link cable. There was one pretty big downside to the wireless adapter though.
Mom wasn't buying that shit.
Which was that you could only use the wireless
got everything else
with games that were designed to be compatible with it. In practice, what this meant was that if a game was made before the wireless adapter's release, it most likely didn't have support for the adapter.
Nah, that's stupid.
Meaning you'd need to use the GBA link cable for multiplayer. But
especially for Pokemon, like that's stupid.
Let's get to the big Nintendo console news of this year. This year was the release of the Nintendo DS.
And then at the same time, like back then, like it's not like how games is now. They could get like a update to it. Them games couldn't get no updates to it. That was the game. It is what it is. So.
Nintendo's newest handheld console, which was first unveiled in a prototype form at E3 2004. This console's release was quite strange considering only 3 years prior, Nintendo released the Game Boy Advance, which was supposed to be their next generation handheld console. Even stranger is that only 1 year prior in 2003, they released their new and
I want to say this. Do y'all know that some people don't even know this? Like, you know the DS and Nintendo DS is really called dual screen, Nintendo dual screen, because of the two screens and it just fold. I ain't never knew that till like a couple years ago. I'm like, also that was what it was called the whole time. I thought it was just DS.
Improved Game Boy Advance model, the Game Boy Advance SP, which had a new clamshell design which could protect your screen, a rechargeable battery that removed the need to buy multiple batteries, and a front-lit screen allowing you to see the game easier. Another weird thing about the DS is that Nintendo initially marketed it not as a replacement for the Game Boy Advance, but instead as a third console in their line of systems along with the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube. Some people believe that Nintendo did this because they weren't entirely sure if the DS would be a success.
How handheld games was back in the day, I wish they would have made it better, just like how the phones is now. You can make the battery better, you can make it rechargeable. They could continue on with that stuff instead of just I don't want to play no games on my. I mean, I play games on my phone, but at the same time, I don't want to play like competitive gaming on my phone. I want to be on the console. That's why I wish they would have did better with the new PlayStation Portable. Why y'all didn't just make it smaller? Like y'all can make it pocket size that it could fit in your pocket or something like that, or fold up or something. But don't just have it's basically a PlayStation controller with a big ass fucking screen in the middle. I'm gonna leave it alone. Everything to me now is a cash grab. I don't know. It feel like they don't put their heart and soul into it no more. And plus, games is not even fun like that no more. I started feeling like that ever since like 2020. I can't even play. I don't even play games like that no more. I used to play games every single day. I used to try to beat the game as fast as I could. That's why I wish I would have did this YouTube thing. If I knew about this stuff, I would have did this shit on back. Like ever since if I found out, ever since that, if I just had the idea of okay, I'm gonna just sit down in front of a camera and edit my videos and stuff like that and post it up. I should have did this. I would have been doing this back like 2009 when I was like 19 years old. Who knows what I would have been at, but I don't know. Sometimes I be thinking maybe because of my age, maybe because I'm just too late because everybody else do this. So now I'm gonna be overlooked because everybody who come on YouTube, they gonna look at a specific person, but they not gonna come find me. Like, who the fuck is this nigga right here? I don't know him. I don't know him. I'm like, I don't like him. I'm gonna go to somebody else. You know, so I'm not trying to. I'm not. I was rushing. I was like, I'm still learning how to do the YouTube thing because I don't want to come off as too try hard. So I'm just doing whatever that I'm feel comfortable with, and people rock with me for that. Then they just rock with me for that. But that's how I'm taking it. And whoever's seeing this, just take how it is. Just keep on doing you. If you really want to do this, that means you're just going to keep on doing it. Doesn't matter how many views you get. You just do it just because you want to do it. So just do it because you want to do it. There's no perfect way. Just do you. People gonna love you because you're not acting like nobody else. You being your own genuine self.
The DS was an odd console. It has two screens instead of one, with the bottom one being a touchscreen, and it also had a built-in microphone for some reason. But the DS did have some legitimately great features at the time, like built-in wireless connectivity to connect with other systems using Wi-Fi, allowing for online play over the internet. Another great feature it had was that it was backwards compatible with Game Boy Advance games, which made the idea that it was a good game. Successor to the Game Boy Advance that much more stupid. Of course, there were still some reasons to own a GBA, since the DS couldn't play Game Boy or Game Boy Color games, and the DS didn't allow for Game Boy Advance multiplayer. Even if Nintendo
that was the only reason why to keep. Well, I never had an SP. I keep my Game Boy Advance so I could always play my Game Boy Color, my Game Boy and my Game Boy Color games. It sucks that the DS never was never able to be back compatible for Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Like, that's crazy. That's the same thing for PlayStation 5. It's backward compatible for, I think, and maybe I'm wrong because I never tried it, but I just heard but it should be backward compatible because they got it in the gaming store. It should be backward compatible for PlayStation, of course PlayStation 4, but PlayStation 3 too, ain't it? I don't know. Oh, PlayStation 2. Well, I never. I got a PlayStation 2 I got a PlayStation 2 game called Crash Twinsanity. Crash Twinsanity. So I didn't pop it in to see. Maybe I should do that one day. I should do this once I finish with this video, but I want to see if that works. But I think 9 times out of 10, I think it's not, and that sucks. Wait a minute, Crash Twinsanity was a PlayStation 3 game. I gotta look at it. What the fuck is wrong with me? I can't remember shit.
Concerned about whether the DS would be popular or not, their worries were in vain because the Nintendo DS was a smash hit. It became popular thanks to its plethora of casual games with universal appeal. It is still to this day Nintendo's most popular console of all time, selling over 150 million units. But Nintendo wasn't the only company to release a new portable console this year.
PSP.
This year was also the release of Sony's handheld, the PlayStation Portable. And like Nintendo, Sony showed off this console at E3 2004. Sony had already successfully ripped the home console market from Nintendo's clutches, so I guess they figured they could do the same thing with the handheld market. And to be fair, the PSP had some great benefits, like a wide screen for better viewing, some pretty powerful components for a handheld console at the time, allowing for pretty
and it had good graphics too. It was actually good. But you could, oh man, I used to take that on the bus with me. I used to take that everywhere I go. I used to put like videos on there, music on there, all that stuff, pictures and all that stuff. It was my own basically I mean, it was like my own damn near like smartphone before smartphones was even existed. Smartphones came out 2008, and I got my first smartphone like 2010. No, smartphones been out. Ain't BlackBerry was a smartphone? I know it was a business casual phone, but I don't know.
Impressive 3D visuals, and the ability to download games off of the internet using Sony's new PlayStation Network, although that feature came a few years later. But not only was the PSP a great gaming console, it was also a great multimedia device. This thing had the ability to play music, watch videos,
but
and even browse the internet. The PSP
I still
did
got mine.
have its
It's just
fair share of quirks.
My little analog thing right here, it broke off, so I gotta find. I know I can't find one. God damn it!
Like the weird nub analog stick.
Oh man, that's crazy. I was just talking about that. I don't even know where that thing is. That's so long ago. That shit is gone. That shit is gone, son. But I don't think I'm gonna ever play it again because I don't even know where the little AC adapter is, so I can charge it up. Maybe I could find one off eBay or something, or find like a generic brand of it. But it's only one game that I'm really going to be playing on it. That's Fight Night.
The odd decision to use optical discs for games instead of cartridges, and of course, Sony deciding to use their own proprietary storage device for saving data, the memory stick. All in all though, the PSP was a massive success for Sony. This console had a ton of RPGs and entries from popular franchises on previous PlayStation consoles. The PSP ended up selling over 75 million units.
Damn.
It doesn't feel right to talk about Nintendo and Sony while leaving Microsoft out. Microsoft didn't release a handheld this year or any new consoles at all, but what they did do was start their Xbox Live Arcade service. By going to Xbox.com and ordering a copy of the free Xbox Live Arcade disc, you could have access to the service. Xbox Live Arcade allowed Xbox owners to download simpler games to their Xbox.
See, that's one thing I never had. I never had an Xbox before. I played Xbox several times, but I wasn't really an Xbox fan. The only thing I liked about Xbox was Halo, basically. And then when Xbox 360 came out, that's when I didn't get it, but my sister got it. I used to play on her Xbox 360, and I used to play Gears of War and other type of games on there. Xbox didn't really have a lot of games that I would play on there, so that's why I never got an Xbox. And the games that they did was the games that they did had. That's all I wanted to play, but now it's like after a while, it's like I don't even want to play them games no more. Once it got to like Gears of War, that new Gears of War, I'm like I don't want to play that because I had the Xbox 360. What's the Xbox One too? I'm like I'm not about to keep on buying Xbox if I'm just gonna keep on buying one game a year and shit. But I eventually do not play. But I eventually stopped playing with the Xbox. Then my sister just ended up taking it for herself. So. You know what I mean? Like, where my Xbox go at? Like, she took it. She always taking my shit without asking.
Like Miss Pac-Man, Joust, and Smash TV. The service would really become a big part of gaming on Microsoft's next console, the Xbox 360.
Oh, and matter of fact, and now since all these years went by without me playing Xbox. Now Xbox want to have a game that I really want to play. I want to play that Power World. I'm like Pokemon with guns. Who don't want to play that? I'm like, why? You're not going to put it on PlayStation? But they put it on Steam though. My computer's not strong enough to play it. That joke would be. I mean, like it's a good computer, but I don't think it's powerful enough. It's 64 RAMs. And I gotta upgrade the gigabytes on it some more. I think it's only 1 terabyte gigabytes. So this is just my little starter pack until I start getting traction with my YouTube channel. Hopefully y'all love me enough.
But even on the original Xbox Live Arcade was a pretty cute little service for old arcade games.
I used to hate that game. I forgot what it's called, Dungeons and Dragons, I think. or something. I forgot what it's called, but that game used to creep me out. Cause looking at all these ghosts, it's like, oh shit, so many of them little cum ghosts.
And other smaller titles. But now that we've gotten all of that stuff out of the way, let's move on to the main course of this video.
Metroid.
The games. Looking back, I was surprised just how stacked 2004
Def
was.
Jam,
Let's
that was
start
my
with
favorite
new
game.
entries and old franchises. Game Freak gave us Pokemon Emerald, the third game in the new Generation 3 games that started 2 years prior with Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire.
I forgot which one I had. I think I had Sapphire. My sister had Ruby, and then she ended up getting Emerald too. She was in the Pokemon way more than me. I like Pokemon, but at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna full nerd out for Pokemon.
Emerald is easily the best version of Gen 3, offering redesigns for the male and female protagonists, a reworked story that incorporates elements of the stories of both Ruby and Sapphire, a brand new post-game location with tons of new challenges, and plenty of other new features. Speaking of RPGs, the Paper Mario series got its second game this year, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. This game is a grail amongst Mario fans.
That was a fun game. I ain't own it, but it was a fun game.
Alike. It says a lot that its remake is one of the most hotly anticipated games I've seen in a while. Mario has never been known for its story, but the Thousand-Year Door's narrative helped people realize that, yeah, you can tell a compelling story with memorable characters in a Mario game. While this series began on a Sony platform, another sequel that came out on a Nintendo platform this year was Kingdom Hearts: Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance.
On my gaming channel, I'm gonna end up playing Kingdom Hearts, but I got a lot of other games I gotta get through too, so it's on my to-do list. I got it already downloaded. Well, not downloaded that you can see it, but ready to be downloaded so I could be able to play the game. So I'm gonna have that on my list. So who knows when? I shouldn't even say nothing. Who knows? That could be by next year because I got a lot of work to do, man. I got a lot of work to do. It's just so much stuff to do. It's just so much stuff, and it's like you try to do so much stuff for yourself, but at the same time, it's like other people want you to do stuff for them too. It's like, why can't I just focus on myself? Why I gotta help y'all all the goddamn time? I don't mind helping sometimes, but at the same time, it's like I got my own life too, and I got goals and aspirations that I gotta get done too. I don't got no girl, I don't got no kids. I'm trying to get everything I wanted to do out the way, so I had to worry about shit. That's how I feel.
Kingdom Hearts for...
But I'm gonna get to Kingdom Hearts though, because I never did play Kingdom Hearts as a kid. Even though I wanted Kingdom Hearts, but I never did get that game as a kid. I don't understand why.
Many years was infamous for all of its games being important to the overarching narrative and all of those games being released on a bunch of different consoles, and that trend began here with Chain of Memories. Kingdom Hearts has experimented with a ton of different mechanics over the years, but I still think Chain of Memories might be the most unique game in the series. It combines the series' trademark action RPG combat with a deck builder. All attacks in this game are done via cards. Each card has a number, and if you use a card that has a higher value than your enemy's card, you can cancel out their attack. I'd be here for a while if I went into all of the complexities of this game's battle system, but it's honestly really cool, and it's a shame that the game is frequently overlooked, even by some Kingdom Hearts fans. RPG fans were eating good this year with several new entries in old series, but first-person shooter fans were not starving for sequels this year either. 2004 saw the release of Halo
It was just
2,
fun.
which launched with online play, allowing you to play against other people over the...
Like, I just realized, like, I don't even play shooter games no more. Like this, like going through the story mode. I don't even play the Call of Duty. I'm been done with Call of Duty story mode. Story mode and just multiplayer. I think I'm just done with video games. I play it sometimes, like not occasionally, but just periodically. Like if it's a good game coming out, then yeah, I'll do it. But since I've been doing it for the YouTube thing, I don't know, it just don't make it fun no more because I'm having fun doing it, like recording it, but when it's time to edit, it's just, I don't be feeling like editing. It takes so much time. It takes 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours for me to get done with a 2-hour video. If I'm doing, if I've recorded for 2 hours, that should take like 4 or 5 hours just to get one video out the way. and then I gotta do another, then I gotta do another, and then I gotta do another. And then sometimes you just lose motivation because you could do a whole gameplay from part 1 to part 30. I don't know what it is, some type of long type of RPG game. Let's just say it was like Spider-Man. You got 30 parts of Spider-Man. You finish all 30 parts of Spider-Man, put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, and then you only getting like 3 views on it. You set up everything. You set up your tags. You set up your description. You try to put your all into it, then you only get 3 views out of it. It's like, what's the point of burning myself out every single day if I'm just going to get no type of views at all? But hey, that's part of the grind.
The internet. Doom 3, which brought back arguably the most influential first-person shooter franchise in history back into the mainstream.
Gotta be a familiar face, gotta keep going.
There's another first-person shooter Valve game that came out this year that's rather notable, Counter-Strike Condition Zero. This game was the first game to have its...
Wait a minute, 2004... Didn't Kill Switch came out? I hope he talked about Kill Switch. That was a game changer right there. That was the first game to ever had like the blind shooting. No other game never made you blind shoot. You gotta come out of cover and shoot.
Initial launch on Valve's Steam service. Steam would end up becoming a juggernaut in the online game distribution sphere, with thousands of games released for it every single year. Some of the other new titles in old franchises were
Hold on, Steam been out ever since 2004? I didn't know that. I thought
Andreas,
that was like,
which is a master
I thought they came out like at least 2010 or something.
Class in open world games. There's also Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which is still considered by many fans to be the best game in the series. Burnout 3 Takedown, which is a super zany...
What happened to racing games, man? Racing games used to be fun too. Burnout, Need for Speed, Burnout, Need for Speed. What's the other one? My sister used to play all the time. She used to like that. It used to be on Xbox. I forgot the name of it.
Over-the-top fun racing game, and Silent Hill 4, The Room,
I hated
the last
that game
to be made by the original creators of the series, Team Silent. While not brand new games, there were quite a few remakes this year, like Metroid Zero Mission, a GBA remake of the first Metroid game on the NES. It took many of the improvements from games like Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion and added them into the original game, as well as some brand new stuff to spice things up. There was also a new duo of Pokemon games, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, which came bundled with the aforementioned GBA wireless adapter. These games are remakes of the original first generation of Pokemon games on the Game Boy. I remember as a kid I tried to play Pokemon Blue and I just couldn't get into it. The game just visually was not very interesting due to the limited colors and primitive sprites. A lot of the locations looked very similar to one another, and
I never had a Game Boy, but I had a Game Boy Color. That was my first handheld console right there, the Game Boy. Yeah, Game Boy Color. Then it was Game Boy Advance. And then it was then it was Nintendo DS. And then it was it PSP then DS? Because I got a PSP and a DS. My sister just had the DS. She didn't want no PSP.
And I didn't like how the Pokemon didn't have unique...
She's the Nintendo Xbox person. I'm the PlayStation person. I'm just PlayStation. If any other games I want, any consoles that I want to get, I just get it. But usually everything I play is on PlayStation. So what's the point of any other game?
Unique sprites in the menus. I just wasn't a fan. But when I played Pokemon Fire Red, I had a great time.
The visuals is much better.
With Pokemon was watching the 1998 anime, so getting to catch all of my favorite Pokemon
that looks so much
in
better.
Full color with updated sprites, mechanics, and features was amazing. The PS1 classic Metal Gear Solid got a remake on the GameCube this year with Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, featuring greatly improved graphics, re-recorded dialogue, new cutscenes to flesh out the story, and new mechanics added to the game from the previously released Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty. There was also Super Mario 64 DS, a remake of the classic N64 game Super Mario 64. This one
Did I get that? Or my sister got that? I don't know.
Was my first experience with Mario 64. And while I don't go back to this one as much as the original because of the small screen and lack of analog controls, it still is pretty cool since you can play as different characters other than Mario who each have their own special moves and abilities. Speaking of remakes, I should also mention some re-releases of old games, notably Nintendo's classic NES series, which was a series of re-releases of old NES games on the GBA. Of course you had the ones everyone expects like Super Mario Bros., Zelda 1, and Metroid, but there were some pretty cool third-party releases like Castlevania, Bomberman, and Pac-Man. Okay, so we've talked about new games and old series.
Star Wars.
Well, how about new games based on old intellectual properties, like licensed games? This year saw a number of great licensed games.
I had that.
Dragon Ball
Z. It was Dragon Ball Legends of Goku on Game Boy Advance.
Budokai 3 refined the gameplay of the previous entries in the Budokai series, adding in several new characters and balance changes to become a legitimately good fighting game. There was also Star Wars Battlefront, a Star Wars first-person shooter that allowed you to take battles from all
That shit was fun. I don't even like Star Wars. I just like shooting and being being a Jedi with the lightsaber. That's the only thing I like about Star Wars. Other than that, I don't really know much of the story. Like, I know a lot now because when I be bored, I be going through YouTube videos looking at like the meaning and the story behind stuff like that. So I know more now, but I'm not into it still.
Of the Star Wars movies at the time. The SpongeBob movie game is an actually
that was fun. That was on GameCube,
developed by Heavy Iron Studios, the same team that gave us the acclaimed SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom the previous year.
Yeah, I actually played that because I'm like, why not? It's like when I started playing, I'm like, it's cool. Just like any other game, it's just SpongeBob, it's just goofy, but it was still fun though.
Here, the SpongeBob movie game has some great platforming challenges and fun level design that shouldn't be overlooked. And of course, this year also gave us another awesome movie tie-in game, Spider-Man 2, one of the grails of licensed games thanks to its great web-slinging mechanic that actually requires a bit of skill to use, its inclusion of new material that wasn't in the movie to flesh out the game's story a bit more, and its open world, which was fairly impressive for its time. But that's enough about old games from existing franchises. Let's talk about the brand new series that started this year. Let's show Xbox some love and start with Fable. Xbox as a console line
I played Fable.
Well known for
I like Fable,
but Fable was at one point one of their
No, I ain't had Fable 1, I had Fable 2.
Fable's most defining feature was its ability to choose between
Fable 2 was much better.
Being a hero.
I don't know how I can say Fable 2 was much better because I never played Fable 1, but I like Fable 2 better.
Hero or a villain. Obviously now
I was going to get Fable 3, but I think did Fable 3 ever came out or was it, I don't know. But I think Fable 3 did came out. But I ain't play. I'm not getting no Xbox no more.
But it is such a binary alignment system is pretty unremarkable. But back in the day, this was pretty cool. And being able to see how your actions affect the world around you, how other people treat you, and how your character looks is pretty awesome. Another big game that came out this year was Far Cry. This game plays quite a bit differently from the much more open-ended later games in the franchise, but it still has the fish out of water in a foreign country FPS gameplay that the series is known for. This year also gave us Killzone, the Sony exclusive series that everyone forgot. This
Never did play
Killzone.
Like
PlayStation's answer to Xbox's Halo, considering they were both futuristic military first-person shooters, but Killzone never had anywhere near the same impact that Halo did. Another shooter that came out this year was Red Dead Revolver, the first game in the popular Red Dead series, but instead of being an open world game, it's a more straightforward third-person shooter. This year also had the zany and surreal Katamari Damacy, where you go around rolling.
I never understood that game. I'm like, they was promoting the shit out that game like it was a mascot. I'm like, I never understood that game just rolling over shit and making it big. I'm like, I'm not wasting my money on that shit.
Everything you can find, including buildings, animals, and human beings into a ball. You can't forget everyone's favorite multiplayer monster slaying game franchise that started this year, Monster Hunter, which was one of the PS2 games that had online play. And
Monster Hunter was out back then?
Last but not least, Monster Hunter, which was my favorite multiplayer monster slaying game franchise that started this year. Monster Hunter, which was one of the PS2 games that had online
I didn't know
play.
that.
And last but not least, I can't not mention that this year saw the release of the most popular
I never knew that.
RPG of all time, World of Warcraft. If we look past all of the games from
Don't care.
big-name established developers like
GTA.
Capcom and Rockstar, we'll also find that this year had a number of some of the first popular indie games, like the surreal dream adventure game Yume Nikki, the Metroidvania staple Cave Story, and the PS2 and GameCube updated version of the Flash game Alien Hominid. I think it's important to talk about how much of a big deal this release was. This was a Newgrounds online Flash game that got an official release on two
that
of
shit was
the
just too
big
popular.
3 home video game consoles. This was certainly a big step.
They should have gave Pico a chance too, but I guess Pico was just way too violent. That nigga, he was a psychopath. If you know Pico from Newgrounds, then that means you was a bad kid growing up too.
For the future of indie games. Of course, I didn't mention everything that happened this year, and I didn't talk about every game that came out in 2004. I didn't bring up The Sims 2, a sequel to the incredibly popular first Sims game that helped popularize the life sim genre. I didn't mention Def Jam Fight for New York, a fighting game with a roster of real-life musical artists who were signed to the Def Jam record label as characters, like Ludacris, Ice-T, and Snoop Dogg. I neglected to speak on Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, which was really interesting at the time since it was a multiplayer Metroidvania Kirby game. I haven't touched on Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, a unique action platformer that made use of these.
Yeah, because it came with drums, and I was playing that, but I couldn't play that shit. It was fun, but it's like I couldn't beat that. I couldn't beat the game.
These weird controller drums called the DK Bong.
I still got them joints upstairs too, I think. I'll show it on camera. If not, then they still upstairs, dude. Yeah, I still got them upstairs. So they don't got no use, but it's a collector's item.
Goes controller. And I didn't even comment on one of my personal favorite games from this year, WarioWare Touched, which made great use of the DS's features in its zany microgames. So hey, please feel free to let me know in the comments what games I didn't mention in this video. Sometimes I decide not to talk about certain topics because they'd...
I played that at... I know I played that at the store. Because when they used to have... well, they still do, but the games don't even be on. You can't even play the demos no more. It used to be a demo at Best Buy, or if I'm at Walmart or Target, I used to go and the electric side and electronic side and just be playing the games, and that was one of the games I used to play.
Ruin the flow of the video. Sometimes
My sister
I honestly
had that.
just
I think I had
stuff,
this too.
and sometimes there's really cool stuff that I did not know about at all.
Didn't
2004 really was a phenomenal year for me.
Yeah.
So many cool games, consoles, and events in gaming, and it was really fun to go back and remember how the gaming landscape was back then. Thanks for watching, y'all, and have a great rest of your day.
DLC in the 90s. Well, that was the end of the video right there. That was a cool video. I like that. I wish he would have talked about more games within like 15 minutes. You know, yeah. I wish he would have went down the list probably like from. I mean, he did, but he wasn't like talking a lot. But it is what it is. But let me know what type of games was you playing in 2004. What type of console did you have? Did you have one, or did you have like all the consoles, or what type of games was you playing? What type of games that y'all into? And yeah, but that's the end of the video. Please like the video, subscribe. Like the video. Please get this video up to at least 10 to 20 likes. Subscribe if you're new. I'm trying to get up to 100 subscribers, so I'm trying to push out 100 videos within, before the summer even start. Excuse me. But anything that you want me to react to, I will react to it. Just please let me know in the comments what other videos should I react to, and I'll eventually look it up so I can react to it. But that's about it. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.